Good evening. Welcome to our meeting. I'd like to turn to Board Member Betty Jenkins to open us up.
If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance afterward for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you. Board Member Alan Scharouse is joining us by phone. Okay. Zoom. But you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. We will begin tonight's meeting by recognizing our volunteers. Our last meeting, would Mrs. Myrtle Rapp please come to the podium at this time? Mrs. Rapp is a dependable, patient, and nurturing individual. She's walking to the podium. She goes above and beyond the to structured time of day. She creates a positive environment for students during lunch. Mrs. Rapp has been invaluable in not only ensuring our ability to provide teachers with duty-free lunch, but also fulfilling various needs such as restroom monitoring during testing, serving on committees during teacher reporting, and much more. She is always on board with doing what is best for children, and while others may be deterred by opportunities such as lunch duty, Mrs. Rapp shows up, supervision with grace, and best of all, she does it with a genuine smile. She continuously builds relationships with students and diffuses challenging situations. Mrs. Rapp provides stability with her consistency and positive attitude. She is everyone's grandma at Pierce. We love and appreciate Mrs. Rapp. Evelyn Bonaparte, assistant principal at Pierce Elementary, who nominated Mrs. Rapp. As volunteer of the month for May, Mrs. Myrtle Rapp was surprised with a $50 gift. And during the month of May, your photo was on display at the district central offices, Pierce Elementary, and Toyota of Greensboro. At this time, I'd like to call on Board Member Michael Logan to present Mrs. Rapp with a certificate of appreciation on behalf of the board.
Ms. Rapp, it is a pleasure to recognize you as the Employee of the Month. And in the certificate, Guilford County Board of Education's certificate of recognition presented to Myrtle Rapp at Pierce Elementary School for Volunteer of the Month for May. Well, walk up there, I would like to say thank you. As an educator, volunteers are the support of our schools, and particularly in our middle schools, you provide a support for the educators within the class and our students that is needed greatly.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this, being nominated and being selected. I do love volunteering with the children. They're a lot of fun. And it's a good way for me to get to know the kids, and they get to know me. And they do call me Grandma. And I get hugs, so I like hugs. But I worked at Wesley Long for many, many years. Retired and worked for a little while in my dream job, which was working for one of the nurseries, working with flowers here in Greensboro for a little while. And then went back to worked for a little bit, and then decided I wanted to give my time to volunteering. I enjoy it a lot and have a good time with the kids. And Lunch Lady is always a fun name when somebody tells you that, so we get lots of laughs out of that. But thank you guys all so much for this and for all the things that you do this time. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, and we would. Yeah,
John, would you like to say anything, Mr. Rapp?
we would like to invite your family and any school representatives that are here with you to come up, because we'd like to congratulate you for your hard work and accomplishments.
Congratulations, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Let's continue by recognizing our June Employee of the Month, Milai, to the podium. Am I saying your name right? Is it Milai? Milai. Dual language programs boast many benefits for young learners, from building strong social connections to raising cultural awareness. Dual language students achieve mastery of the curriculum objectives in all core content areas while developing proficiency in a second language. However, running these initiatives would not be possible without the appropriate support system in place. At Milai Alvarez acts as that support system. As a dual language curriculum facilitator, she works hard to provide teachers with the resources they need to instruct their students successfully in English, Spanish, or Urdu. Mrs. Alvarez always goes above and beyond supporting the dual language teachers at school, writes kindergarten teacher Barbara Diaz. She works very hard to provide teachers with the necessary tools during our PLC, Professional Learning Community meetings. She takes a step forward to let us know what is expected from us and helps in any way that she sees fit. She is always available for questions and feedback. She does a book study in the afternoons that helps us understand better the dual language initiative. She helped us with the kindergarten registration, organized multicultural night, and even has the energy to dance with us and present a show for all of our community. She always has a positive attitude and treats everyone with care and respect. Milai's dedication to students, staff, and families at Allen J. Elementary has created a community that celebrates diversity, cultural backgrounds, and differences. These types of learning environments are crucial to the success of our learners. While Ms. Alvarez, which is why Ms. Alvarez has earned the title of Employee of the Month for May. Ms. Alvarez received a $50 gift card courtesy of the Greensboro JCs, and during the month of May, your photo will be displayed, during the month of June, your photo will be displayed at the district central offices at Allen J. Elementary and in the Greensboro JC's office. At this time, I'd like to ask Board Member Chrissy Pratt to read aloud the certificate honoring Mrs. Alvarez.
Okay, am I on? Yes, okay. Different system here, sorry. Congratulations, Milai. This is fantastic. And that program is a program for the kids, really immersing them in multiple languages, and what you do is just fantastic. So thank you for all that you do. Your certificate says, Guilford County Board of Education Certificate of Recognition, presented to Milai Alvarez, Allen J. Employee of the Month, sponsored by the Greensboro June of 2024, and signed by our Superintendent, Dr. Oakley, and our Chairwoman, Dina Hayes. So congratulations.
I want to say that I feel very thankful and honored, and I think that this goes not only to me, but also to every teacher, every staff member, and every leader in my school. I think that we do what we do because we love our children. We want them to succeed. We want them to be better citizens of this world, and I love working with them. And I love these kind of initiatives for our county because it's great for our future. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'd like to invite you and your family, your friends, any school representatives here, because we would like to congratulate you as well. If they'd like to join you up here, come on. Thank you, and you can just start down there shaking her hand and just come on through.
Thank you so much for all of your work.
All right. All right, we are now at public comments. We only have 5 people who have signed up. Again, for our folks who have signed up to speak, you have 3 minutes to make your comments. When you come to the podium, we would like for you to say your name and address. When the amber light, 15 seconds left. When the red light comes on, please wrap up your comments so the next speaker can come to the podium and share their comments. If there's anything that you agree with and that you support and you want to express that, we have to do this so that the speaker can be interrupted. Our first speaker is Monica Walker, followed by J.L. Garvin. John Martin, followed by Jennifer Noble. Welcome.
Good evening, GCS Board. John Martin, good to be with y'all. I'm here visiting on behalf of the Lindley Elementary Adaptive Reuse and Renovation Group. I wanted to thank y'all for everyone's time. It's a significant effort, I recognize this. And I just wanted to say we're excited to hear the results today. A lot that went into this. I know there's also been a lot of engagement, which is particularly unique. We did I thought it was a fantastic field trip to Wiley Elementary School and learned a lot there. They dealt with a lot of the same existing issues that Lindley has and overcame those to renovate an amazing school. Much like Lindley, they also did a significant addition, which I think the school and how it operates is fantastic for the students. Do want to recognize a Lindley neighborhood member here, Jesse Day. Jesse joined. There's been a number of folks from the Lindley Neighborhood Association that's very interested in preserving and restoring this building as well. So with that, just want to say thank you again, and looking forward to seeing and hearing the report.
Thank you. Jennifer Noble, followed by David Coates. Welcome.
I'm Jennifer Noble. I live at 608 Wimberley Drive and proudly in the Moorhead, Kaiser, and Grimsley district. I just wanted to come and speak and express my appreciation for the work you do, and also just to encourage you to continue doing the work of equity. The most important thing that we can do is help advance all of the kids in our community. I recently joined the PTA at Grimsley, and I have 3 kids, and one of the things that I've noticed about mine is how fortunate I am that I have health care and a job and a way to get them to school and a way to get them to practices in the evenings and during the summer. And I know that not everybody in our community has the same opportunity. And I just wanted to thank you for your work at trying to help, because funding equitably doesn't always mean funding equally. It means helping the kids and the teachers in the schools that need our help the most. And I just am really grateful for your service and just thankful for you to continue focusing on equity and serving those in our entire community and not just those of privilege. Thanks.
Thank you. And our final speaker is David Coates. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm David Coates, running for the 3rd District seat. been attending meetings, reading and listening to people, and filtering what I've learned through decades of experience as a school board attorney in New Jersey. My perception is that the board and that you and Dr. Oakley and her administration are striving to maximize the experience of all of our students. I want to join you in this effort. Last month, Bill Goebel spoke to you from your podium and offered a debate with Logan, the official Republican candidate for District 3, but not to me. Curious omission. Why? Well, I think it's because for him this is a grudge match, and Mr. Goebel, the votes of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents. So it's better for him if I am sidelined. The problem for him is that he does not deserve their votes. The site proclaims that he is a compassionate conservative. But as was said 2,000 years ago, where your treasure is, there your heart is also. Public records reveal that in 2021, Mr. Goebel gave $500 to Curtis Ray Allen, Republican candidate for the North Carolina in 2022. In 2022, that court held in Leandro that on a statewide basis, North Carolina had failed to meet its state constitutional duty to the children of North Carolina to provide a sound basic education. In order to remedy that would have brought $184.5 million to Guilford County over a 5-year period. This money was not appropriated. A hearing for Leandro, supported by now Justice Allen, has been scheduled. He is thought to be a vote to overturn the 2022 order. More recently, Mr. Goebel contributed in 2023 and 2024 a total of $1,200 to Mark Walker's primary campaign. Mr. Walker now heads the Trump campaign's outreach to religious communities and minorities. He's no friend of public education. I could go on. So I challenge Logan and Mr. Goebel to debates and joint appearances. I offer a quote, a choice, not an echo. That's, but it's a bit different, but this November's election is not a Republican primary. It's an election. So I hope, Mr. Logan, I saw Mr. Goebel, I hope you'll take up this challenge, and we'll see what the people decide. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Ms. Walker is here. We had called your name earlier. Monica Walker, followed by J.L. Garvin.
We went to all of the doors all over long, so I want you to know why we're late. Okay, let me see if I can do this. So good evening, and I apologize for my tardiness. But good evening to Superintendent Oakley and Madam Chair Hayes Green, and to all of you who are serving on the Board of Education. I am Monica Walker. I live at 609 Martin Street, and I am a grandmother of 3 Guilford County School students, a rising junior who attends the college at Guilford, a rising second grader, both attending Moorhead Elementary School. But I'm also a retired educator, having served as the first diversity officer for Guilford County Schools, and proud to have served in a district committed to the pursuit of creating an equitable environment and an equitable chance for all students. I recognize that I am no different than any other parent or grandparent in our school system. We all want the best for our children, but we all want the best for our children, but shouldn't we also want the best for all children? Unfortunately, we are constantly now bombarded with you who are doing everything they can to destroy public education. They continue to redirect and diminish funding for public education and pass bills that actually siphon funds away from public schools to subsidize private education and independent charter schools. There's no question that this only serves to dilute efforts. A few years ago, I got engaged with many of you and supported efforts to pass one of the largest school bonds in our state and possibly one of the largest bonds passed in the region. We did this because we understood that education is the bedrock of this democracy and that the conditions in which our children learn is those who continue to diminish school budgets and limit the learning opportunities of all children are intentionally seeking to undermine the future of our democracy. There's a long history to the continuing challenges that plague our schools. It was so much easier to recognize the intent of undermining and underfunding schools when they were segregated. It is a little bit more covert now to see that. Why is it so hard to promote the common good and do the right thing, to recognize the good in all of us, to not lie to ourselves and especially not perpetuate those lies to our children, to not run from that which we do not understand rather than confronting the truths that keep us from becoming the strong nation we once bragged? We're living in very scary times right now, but we've also created a boogeyman that does not exist. And we all should be invested in what we should be doing to strengthen public education. I am grateful for the members of this board who have found the courage to stand up in the face of those fearmongers and declare your commitment to equity and justice. I am humbled by your love for humanity and all things good. And I need you to know that when things get hard, there are a group of us out there. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker, J.L. Garvin. Welcome.
Good evening, Superintendent Oakley, Madam Chair, and members of the school board. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is J.L. Garvin, and I live at 446 Garrell Street in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm a rising junior at the Early College at Guilford. I serve as the mock trial co-president, the 11th grade rep, the prom committee lead. Leadership activity extends beyond school, but also within community organizations such as NCCJ and the Beloved Community Center. So I would say I could be a student who deeply cares for our county, our schools, and my peers. With such care, how could I fail to concern myself with important matters like that of the accuracy of the information with the subject matters my peers and I are being taught? With such care, how could we fail to realize an importance of teaching students the truth, the things necessary to aid us in growing into strong leaders, capable of moving this country forwards and not backwards. But in growth, we must know the wrongs of our collective past. After all, the saying goes, those who do not learn history are doomed to repeat it, correct? I invite y'all to recollect if you've ever learned about the depth of the construction of race in America and how we are so divided in our country. There's so much of this country that I realize I haven't learned, so much more that I want to know. So even the ways other groups have contributed to the construction of our mighty yet flawed nation. How can we want better for our students when they are not confronted with our shared truth, even if it is bitter, painful truth? How can we want better for our students if they don't understand the systematic structures that keep individuals disadvantaged and living in concentrated poverty? I also recognize that while I want to learn these things, we are also in a battle for funding to fully support all of the schools in the district. And when that happens, it is often the struggling schools get placed at the table. I read the news and I realize that there are those who would destroy our right to good, sound, and truthful public education. I came tonight because I believe that students need to lend their voices to the conversation about building a strong and relevant public education. I'm going to urge GCS to also comment at these meetings because our voices matter. We matter. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And that concludes public comments. We are now at approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Move the agenda.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're now at the consent agenda. Dr. Oakley.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. This evening's consent agenda includes the following items: approval of May 2024 meeting minutes, personnel action report and addendum to personnel action report, 23-24 budget amendments transfers report, 24-25 interim budget resolution, designation of official depositories and appointment of individuals 2425, 2425 insurance coverages, 2425 micro purchase resolution, activity bus replacement fee, local government excess liability fund, contractual agreement Comfort Systems USA LLC for the Northeast Guilford High School HVAC replacement project, and revision to 2425 non-traditional academic calendars for Greensboro College, Middle College, and Middle College at UNCG. That concludes this evening's consent agenda for your consideration.
Move the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Second. All right, thank you. Kim?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Betty?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
And Dina, yes. That passes by a vote of 7-0. We are now at comments from the chair. Good evening. We are so excited to be back in High Point, and we want to thank the High Point City Council for allowing us to use their chambers this evening. Guilford County Schools has been named an AIG, academically gifted, promising district by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction's Office of Advanced Learning and Gifted Education. Our district has been highlighted in the state guidebook for academically gifted education for our focus on equity and access in AG student identification. Guilford County Schools has nearly 11,000 students identified as academically gifted. I hope all of our students are spending time this summer reading. Students who read at least 600 minutes between now and August 25th will receive a free ticket to Kersey Valley Seasonal Attraction. We want to thank Kersey Valley for being our partner in this effort for many years. Visit our website or look for the flyer jar to submit your minutes electronically. Northern High student Yelib has been named the National Vice President for the Students Against Destructive Decisions Organizations, also known as SAD. Yale started her own SAD chapter and has focused on substance abuse and traffic safety. She is also a nationally ranked dancer and aerialist who is passionate about living a healthy lifestyle. Guilford County School nutrition is now offering breakfast and lunch at more than 20 school locations. These locations are posted on our website at www.gc.com/summermeals. Meals are available Monday through Thursday from 8 to 9 a.m. for breakfast and 11 a.m. to noon for lunch. Meals are required to stay at the facility and eat their meals. The district will also serve meals to students involved in summer academic programs and to community locations for families unable to get to school sites. As a reminder, meals will not be served the week of July 1st through the 5th, as Guilford County schools and offices will be closed. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday and takes a well-deserved break. This concludes my remarks. Dr. Oakley?
Good evening. Wednesday, June 26th, was the last day of our Summer Leadership Institute, an annual professional development opportunity for principals, assistant principals, and district leaders. It's always a productive time and planning. I do want to thank the participants, and especially those who are involved in planning and facilitating the event. We accomplished much and will come back from the holiday break ready to dive into the work. Kaiser Middle Band Director Tammy White was named the 2024 Band Director of the Year by the North Carolina Association Central District. In addition, Page High Band Director Eddie Deaton was named the 2024 recipient of the Award of Excellence. Congratulations to these educators who inspire a love of music and our students. If you're a high school student who will be taking AP classes next year, it's not too late to sign up for AP Online Boot Camp. Visit the Academically Gifted page on our website and find the link to register. Registration ends June 30th. Guilford County Schools has added another National Merit Scholar from the class of 2024. Eric Gray, a graduate from Northern High, has received a National Merit Scholarship from the University of Oklahoma, where he is planning to study music. GC students in the class of 2024 received a record $181 million in scholarships and grant offers this year. I had the opportunity, along with some board members, to meet many of our high school valedictorians and salutatorians annual luncheon on June 10th. We were so impressed with their dedication and hard work to achieve their goals. I want to congratulate all of our more than 5 graduates from the class of 2024. You can read some of their stories and see pictures from graduation on our website, gcsnc.com/2024grads. Lastly, I want to congratulate our top 10 Teacher of the Year candidates. They are Katie Alcorn, Herban Metz Education Center, Jennifer Stringer, Triangle Lake Montessori, India Burns, Dudley High, Natasha Richmond, Brightwood Elementary, Kristen Blanton, the Academy at Lincoln, Marthaniel Grinton, Northern High, Nicola Phillips, Oak Ridge Elementary, Mary Amweg, Middle College at GTCC Jamestown, Carla Harris, Andrews High, and Jeffrey Silverthorne from Western. The winner will be announced in September as part of the Celebration of Excellence event. Thank you. This concludes my remarks.
Thank you. We're now at our reports.
Yes, Dr. Monk will join with some guests. We'll start with Archer, and then we'll shift to Lindley.
Yeah, Erwin Montessori, the former Archer.
Yes.
Welcome.
Good evening. I'm joined at the podium by Mr. Andre Johnson of Andre Johnson Architects. He is the project architect when Montessori at Archer. Tonight, we're going to be providing an update on the Erwin Montessori Archer project. Some of the items that we're going to cover tonight are going to be the 2019 Facilities Master Plan. We're just going to go on a review, kind of orient everybody to why this project is on the bond list. Part of that conversation is going to be a discussion about the capacity of the existing building as well as the enrollment. We're going to talk about the existing building site conditions and the assessments that Mr. Johnson and his team conducted at that site. He will share with you some recommendations and some options that have for consideration, which will include both project costs as well as the project timeline and schedule associated with each of those recommendations. And then we will end with what the next steps are for this project. So as a reminder, Cooperative Strategies was the firm that we utilized together the master plan that was done in 2019. From that, they recommended that because Archer's age, it was built in 1962, then that time, we build 60-year buildings for our schools, that it would definitely need a major renovation or a replacement. At the time, we were also looking at what we were doing. Some of those projects are under construction right now with both Peck and Faust, how that would interact with consolidating those schools, Wiley and Murphy, into those schools that we're rebuilding right now, and would leave for the community surrounding Archer. And so that's why Archer was selected as where the new Montessori program would be held. Here lately, we've been having a lot of conversation about how large this school should be and which areas of Gifford County it was going to serve. And we finally landed on 350 students. As a reminder, earlier on in this year, we discontinued the program, the Montessori program at Washington Elementary School, which served about 100 and 125 students. With the intention of consolidating it with the Erwin Montessori, which has historically served about 200 to 225 students. The enrollment at Archer this past year, which we've closed at and consolidated with Faust, was 300 students, and it had a capacity of 488. Why we're mentioning that is because Archer, as it's presently constituted, is a traditional elementary school, either renovating or rebuilding it to a Montessori specification, which Mr. Johnson is going to cover with you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Johnson to share the findings and the recommendations.
So our team, which consisted of architects and engineers, looked at the building and the site. Some of the elements that we assessment include the building envelope, building systems, the structural systems, hazardous materials, code compliance and safety, security concerns, and program requirements. So I'll focus a little bit on the last three. So code compliance are those things that are safety for kids and the occupants of the building. Security concerns include things in terms of layout, sight lines, things that we typically do in elementary school, make sure that the facility is safe. And then program compliance. The existing building is about 40,000 square feet, so we need an additional, which would take it to about 67,000 square feet. So our assessment was based on the program that was developed by Gifford County. Some of the things that we noticed in the building, you can see here some of the existing conditions, both on the exterior. When we talk about building systems, we look at the envelope, we look at the roof. So most of the components need to be replaced, which includes building envelope, building system. So just several deficiencies exist within the existing facilities. One of the major was water intrusion. We looked at two options. So the first option was a renovation of the existing building and an addition to that building to bring the building square footage up to support the program in the count. So with this, the image on the right is just a simple graphic to show what could possibly happen with an addition and renovation. 21,000 square feet. There are some limitations. We identified those limitations on the screen. One of the major limitations is what we call vehicle queuing. Some of the requirements for access to the site for vehicles, the Montessori program, and being able to support the program within the existing building. The cost of the renovation and addition is actually slightly more than a new build, and we'll show that in a second. The second option is a new build on the existing site. We evaluated the site based on North Carolina DPR requirements, and based on the impartial evaluation of both the building and the site, a viable option is to rebuild on the site. So this option provides a lot of flexibility, can be utilized very efficiently. The Montessori program can be met completely. The student capacity can be met. And there's really just a lot of really efficiency and flexibility for the district, both now and into the future. As Dr. Monk mentioned, most buildings are designed for 50, 60 years. A replacement allows for that flexibility for the future. I talked about cost a little bit. I won't bore you with all of the highlighted red. You can see option one, which is the renovation and addition, and the cost, and then the building replacement and the cost, that red number. So you can see there's actually a cost benefit to a building replacement based on difficulties with renovating such an old building with some of the antiquated structural systems. So there are a lot of components that we evaluated, and that contributed to the cost that you see here. Project timeline, the renovation and addition is the calendar timeline at the top. The new building is at the bottom. You can see to keep this brief, the addition and renovation extends beyond the start of the school year. So that would mean a school year that the students would come back to the school kind of mid-year, which is really not desired. With the new build, we're actually able to be more efficient in both construction, and that allows for the school to be completed in plenty of time for the start of the next academic year. So you can see with the first option, we at the end of September of 27, and with the new build, we finish at the end of April of 27.
Okay, so our next steps for this project would share this information with the current Montessori community from Greensboro to attend Irwin, so that they can understand which facility that they will be going to in the future. as well as the broader Greensboro community that may want to choose to do the Montessori in the future. We will be back before the Board of Education on July the 23rd to get direction on whether to move forward with the build or the renovation and addition. And then once we have that direction, we will the phase. And so with that, we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Chrissy. And then Diane. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. I really just have one question. Can you describe a little bit of the considerations that have been made for the size of the facility for a Montessori program and how that's different from a traditional program?
Sure. So with the Montessori program, a lot of the spaces are open and flexible for the different types of instructional things that happen with the Montessori. Some of the existing deficiencies with the building, there's no actual gym space. And a lot of the activities happen in mobiles. So with both with the renovation and new build, but the new build allows that flexibility. The existing building arrangement, it may be a little technical, but it's important. The existing building interior walls are all load bearing. So that limits the flexibility that we can have in terms of how we structure the program within the building for that flexibility that we typically see for Montessori school.
So for the renovation addition option, there was an addition of about 21,000 square feet. Was that, and that's not reflected in the building replacement, was that addition to be able to have some of those open spaces?
The addition was to actually meet the program requirement in terms of square footage. There are some challenges even with adding that additional square footage, that because of the existing building is actually right at the right-of-way on Four Seasons Boulevard and really extends back very close to the property line. That addition, we really didn't get into kind of what could be in there, but right now we know the missing kind of pieces, larger pieces, are recreational areas, multi-purpose areas, what we call them. And so right now that building addition, could be a number of program elements, but the layout does provide some restrictions or challenges, so to speak.
So why is that addition, I'm sorry, I know I said I had one question, but you keep triggering things. So why is that additional 21,000 square feet not included in the building replacement size?
Yeah, it actually is. So the program is 67,919 square feet. So the new build actually is the 67,919. In order to meet that 67,919 square feet, we have to take the existing 47,000.
Oh, maybe there's an error on the slide then.
Plus 20.
Yeah, it's slide 9, and it says for renovation and addition, 20,863. Oh, that's adding those two together.
Yep, the bold is the total.
I got it, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That was confusing. Okay, all I had, thank you very much.
Thank you. Chrissy, then Diane, then Kim.
Okay, my first question has to do with the consideration of the fact that that current site is highly walkability, and I come through there, and in the morning and in the afternoon, you got cars backed all the way up to the first intersecting street. On both sides almost, as far as, and if you're talking about increasing the number of children, right, who would go to this school?
No, because right now 375 already go, and there's a capacity of 488. But I will let Mr. Johnson speak to what you're talking about now, because the new bill allows us to do more with the traffic situation and walkability to the site.
Okay.
So what you're asking about is what we mentioned, wing lanes. So the backup of the traffic is because currently, right now, well, you know it. It's pretty inefficient.
Well, and there's no place to go once the buses come up in there.
Right.
That's pretty much it. As
Right.
far as that part of it.
Yes, ma'am.
And you see people parking and walking their children up to the school coming from, that's Denise Street, that area,
right.
or, you know, so.
Yes, ma'am. What we try to achieve, well, not try, what we achieve when we do a new, all of that queuing and vehicle kind of backup is contained on site. And we also have separate bus entries, so the buses are not interrupted by parents like myself who would come and pick up my kid and go the wrong way. Actually, I can go to the slide and kind of show you. So the gray is somewhat indicating how we would manage the determined length of queuing. So the idea would be to keep that on the property so we don't impact adjacent residential streets.
So is that gray there Four Seasons? Or one of the side, or was that at side street?
The side street is to your right of the large gray, running parallel with the length of the building. And I would point, but I don't know if the laser would show up on the TV. But so when we would start design, we would evaluate the entries and exits from standpoint, but we have to contain that queuing on the site so we don't impact traffic. Yep.
But, okay, now, where the ground area is now, and then there's a clump of trees.
Yes, ma'am.
That's going to be gone, right?
We will have to modify and adjust the site. We will be sent if that's the direction we take. But the challenge for the new bill, for the existing in addition, not able to gain that length because we can't really connect, the existing parking lot to the other side because of the right-of-way restrictions right at Four Seasons. And on the opposite side, we have adjacent properties and the grade kind of slopes up with some trees. And so to even try to attempt that would require hundreds of feet of retaining walls.
Okay. Have you talked with Mount Tabor, the United Methodist Church that's the adjacent property to this school site?
I have not.
Okay. As a friendly neighbor,
Sure.
Reverend Ellis Carson, because you're going to impact on them, if nothing else, just in terms of, your construction. And they are your adjacent property, and that clump of trees is kind of their buffer, if you will, between them and us. Hazardous material. I'm not sure if you said when the school was built, but was it possibly built whenever we did use that HRA we to talk about?
I won't say it out loud, but yes, it was constructed in a time when that's pretty much almost every material.
Okay. So we're going to have to mitigate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then my last question is on page 10. Could you what is the cost difference between the 18-month and the 16-month? You're talking about, six additional month?
So for construction, that cost is captured back on slide 9, kind of in that array. So there are costs for that time period for the contractor, and track cost before, but it is more expensive, and it takes more time for us to deal with the existing conditions, selectively demo and contain the hazardous materials, and it's different than a containment that is a full.
Okay. Well, it's just that I'm quite, I live in this area, okay? So
yes, ma'am.
I'm very, interested in seeing how we do this and how you handle the traffic and the fact that you do have a lot of, or what appears to be a lot of folks who walk from there's, I think, one apartment complex that's right across the street, and then you have the Rolling Rose community that's, I don't know I don't know if that's aged out and now is repopulating, but, it used to be more seniors than children in that community. Plus, you got the community behind there that I assume will also feed into that school if they're school-age children in that neighborhood. That's where that side street is, going in that direction, coming back toward. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim?
Yes, I think a lot of my questions might be for Dr. Oakley. I would like to know if Montessori classes are automatically capped because of the design of those programs.
I mean, they have a separate recommended class size, but they're mostly, remember, they're like pre-KK, K1. And so,
Right.
but yes, we do cap those to accommodate the design of the program, interest-based, there's lots of shared collaboration, there's, you know, it's the connection with nature, there's all these programs. We would, that 350 number is not arbitrary in terms of how we would design those classrooms.
How many students are now?
Well, we've had to limit, you can answer.
Well, I know they're in a shared space, right?
We've started expanding the program, and we've had to limit the number of families we accept because of the limitations of space at Alamance. It's two.
Right, yeah, and we're increasing it to a little over 200 as we move into the Wiley space so that we can grow it each year in preparation for moving into their new home at Archer. But for many years since the tornado, it was less than 200 students.
So we definitely have the interest in Montessori program
We absolutely
that it's going to
do.
have?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so have we ever considered a different site? Applications of this site?
From what I read from the master plan, and looking at all the different sites that were available, this fit both the program as well as trying to keep schools in certain areas as well, so people don't have to travel way across the county to get to school.
And does that enrollment number get us an assistant principal at this school?
Not under the current formula.
How many students do we need?
It depends on a lot of other factors, including poverty of the students who are at, I mean, it's got lots of different weights in terms of how we receive those, but we certainly don't get one from the state at that.
Right, that's what I was concerned about, because if we're capping the enrollment, and I just know that in the district, we have a lot of schools that don't have APs. So I just kind of feel like, are we continuing in this pattern by only allowing 350 students to be at the...
We would not earn a state-funded AP position.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, no other questions? All right, well, thank you very much. We are now at the Port Lindley Elementary School Bond Project. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael?
Following along the estimates on, I think it was page 9, the renovation and the building replacement in the 2019 studies that we use all the time and always fall back to, our renovation and addition costs seem to always be considerably less than replacement costs. What is our guarantee that we don't get started on this and our building replacement price and cost above 47 billion?
That is a good question. So the costs that you see here are actually based on current costs.
Current costs.
And costs relative to our other work with other districts in the state that are, you know.
So I can hold you to the estimate of this?
No. Remember the commissioners.
10%?
Remember that we then have to bring back a guaranteed maximum price. That's when you can hold somebody to something. But that's down the line from this initial estimate piece of the project. But when we come back with the guaranteed maximum price that we take before this board and then to the commissioners, that's the number we can hold on to.
If we've the building down, we're stuck with that guaranteed maximum price and there is no more renovation and repair. And that is my concern.
I will say this, though, that the renovation would actually open the district up more for unexpected costs that cannot be determined and cannot be quantified until it actually comes up. With the new build, there's a little more control that we can take to align it with available funding.
Now, do you feel that if we bid all this out within the next year, we'll be within 5% of this?
We would
10%? I mean, I'm looking for some numbers.
We would need to go through the process, but again, this was developed current dollars in this market, which includes the annual inflation that we've all seen. So this is not pre-pandemic numbers.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Again?
It's not showing up.
Thank you. Okay, good evening. Now by Mr. David Powell, who is a lead architect with SHP, which is the architectural firm we've contracted for the Lindley Elementary School project. And today we're going to provide an update for that project. We're going to cover, again, another review of the master plan as it relates to elementary. Mr. Powell's going to talk about some of the site limitations related with its condition of both the facility as well as its educational adequacy. He will provide recommendations and comparisons of both cost and schedule, and then we will also talk about the next steps associated with it. So for Lindley, the master plan called to add a 100-seat addition. That was the master plan back in 2019. During the 2018 school year, the enrollment was 504 already, and the built capacity was 412. And that built capacity is the capacity without mobile. So how we're able to have 504 students when we only have space for 412 is because we have several mobile units on the campus. At the time, the estimated cost to build just the addition, not to do anything with the existing facility, was $3.8 million. Sometime in between the facility's master plan and whenever a revised project scope was put out in February 2022, there was discussion from a K-5 elementary school to a K-8. There was also discussions of now renovating the existing facility, adding new additions to cover for the increased capacity as well as the increased school level, adding a STEM center in that area. That estimated cost was $49.5 million. Since that has progressed, both in construction costs as well as student enrollment and shifts throughout the county. And now we're trying to really make sure that this project is improving our campus safety, both access to the building. There's several exterior doors. There's several times that children and staff have to leave out of the main building to enter either a mobile classrooms. And then we also want to address vehicular and pedestrian traffic, making sure that we have safe routes. We will also seek to provide that additional capacity in the form of brick and mortar, and to maximum on that site can hold about 759 seats, which includes pre-K and exceptional children spaces, which are not adequate at this current location. A new facility would obviously provide a more 21st century learning space that we're trying to certainly provide our students. And then we want to make sure that we're maximizing our initial construction costs as well as ongoing facilities maintenance. It obviously costs a little bit more to maintain a school year after year whenever it's an older facility than it does with a newer facility. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Powell to walk through his assessments and recommendations.
Thank you, Dr. Monk. Before I start, I'd like to just say thank you for taking the time to hear our presentation today. Really appreciate the opportunity to share an update on the Lindley project. We recognize the dedication and the difficult choices that you all make every day to ensure the best and safest possible learning environments for kids. And this is something that SHP believes in very deeply as well. The Lindley Elementary School campus is on a 14.4 acre site, but about 3.5 of those acres are unusable due to the wood stream. This puts us far below the state recommended site size for elementary schools. So to deal with it, we're aiming to be extremely efficient and prioritizing green space, paved areas, and walkways. We're working with a traffic engineer currently that's carefully looking at vehicular and pedestrian patterns so that we can maximize the use of our site. As you can see from our cover of our assessment report, we had a dedicated team of architects and engineers and contractors, and we have comprehensively evaluated the 1928 portion of the Lindley Elementary School. The team utilized industry to assess the building's structural integrity, the envelope, which is the exterior walls and the roof primarily, the mechanical systems, the electrical systems, the plumbing systems, and additionally considered compliance with code and suitability for modern learning environments. Unfortunately, the findings reveal that the majority of the building requires significant attention. From structural concerns to outdated systems to lack of code compliance, the report details the need for substantial repairs or replacement across various facets of the building. This is three concerning images of the building's roof structure. These areas do not meet current building codes. And while not pictured on this slide, a critical issue exists throughout the building. Approximately 75% of the floor slabs in this building fall short of code compliance. Addressing both the roof and the extensive deficiencies will require significant repairs and shoring up of existing structures. Furthermore, the renovation process itself for that building may necessitate temporary or permanent lateral structures just to keep sure the overall building is stable. This slide highlights the critical condition of the exterior of the building. Include walls and any system designed really to keep moisture out of the building. You can see in the photos that it showcases significant deterioration of the masonry with failing mortar joints, a clear sign of long-term moisture intrusion. Beyond these isolated locations, it's really impacting the entire exterior of the building. To address this, a comprehensive approach is necessary, encompassing parapet reconstruction, that's the top of the wall, proper moisture control measures throughout the building exterior, and improving the thermal performance of the exterior walls to meet current. This slide highlights the current condition of the school's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. We have hundreds of photos in the condition report. However, these images represent the general consensus that systems have reached the end of their lifespan and require complete replacement. This critical issue requires immediate attention to ensure safety and functionality. These photos on this slide, the visual condition of the building's finishes reflects a deeper issue. The chipped walls, peeling paint, and cracked floors are just the tip of the iceberg here. A recent full hazardous material survey revealed that significant portion of the structure contains potentially hazardous materials and needs to be abated. So what can we do? One of the development options that we considered for this school is to fully renovate the historic 1928 Lindley Elementary building and design an addition that's large enough to meet the planned program for the school. Looking closely at this option has challenges. Condition of the 1928 building and needing to comply with state standards for elementary schools. The cost to renovate a building in addition exceeds that of building a new school. Renovating the original structure limits the ability to fully utilize the available space for educational needs. The ongoing maintenance of the aging building can be costly. Separating administrative areas from classroom areas presents problems to meet current state guidelines. Lastly, a renovation would likely require operational costs and would require significant modifications to meet modern standards. Another development option suggests constructing a brand new school instead of renovating the 1928 building and building an addition. This approach opportunities. A new build allows for more adaptable and modern design, potentially requiring 18% less square footage due to efficient use of space. Salvaged materials from the 1928 building can be repurposed in the new school, creating a sustainable and profound connection to the past. Safety, security, and energy efficiency would be prioritized in the design, creating a comfortable learning environment for everyone. And in Lindley's case, building a new school from the ground up is more cost-effective due to the condition of the existing building, lower maintenance costs, and predictable upfront costs. We have a similar chart to the Archer project. This represents a cost model comparison between renovating to the existing school versus constructing a new Lindley Elementary School. You'll see that the renovation addition concept requires a larger final footprint, coming in at about 18% more square foot, and as such carries a higher price tag. The projected cost for renovating and adding to the existing school is approximately $68 million, while the new build concept has a lower projected cost of $55 million. Adding in soft costs, you have a final project cost for the renovation addition at $94 million and $76 build option. Additionally, to Dr. Monk's point, the renovate add-on option is roughly 40% more over the building's lifetime due to factors of more frequent and unpredictable maintenance structure and the higher operational costs associated with a larger building. And finally, a similar slide here for project timelines. Although both concepts Timeline, the construction schedule, as we saw last project, prevents a fundamental difference. Due to the size of the renovation addition, the complexities involved in renovating the 1928 building, the overall project timeline for a renovation concept would extend the project timeline by about 3 months compared to the new build on a fresh site and the construction efficiencies that come with that. So that's my presentation. I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, so next steps for the Lindley project would be to share the information with Lindley community on July the 10th. We'll be back and forth this board on July the 23rd to receive direction on whether we're or addition or the rebuild, and then we will begin the design process for the project. And so up for questions.
Thank you, Chrissy. Then Diane.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. It is very clear from the photos and from other things that I've heard that the building is in very bad condition, and absolutely, I think the best option is to replace it. However, I am a huge advocate for retaining some historical value to the building. I know the community has been very interested in that. And so on slide 12, you talk about opportunities to repurpose materials from the 1928 building. Can you expand on that a little bit and what that might look like?
Yes, we write about this a lot. And the history is very important to us. We have done projects where we have used bricks from the old building and we have presented them in a more profound and modern way. We have actually done an exercise where we've taken the wooden seats and the seat backs from the theater, and we've used AI technology, and we've created the Lindley Lions logo out of these pieces, and it can be presented on all inside the new school. There's ways that we can use the limestone pieces. We can salvage those limestone pieces and repurpose them. It's not necessarily now, but it's taking those items and repurposing them into a modern way.
And do all of those options that you're considering essentially lose the original feel of the building? Like you're talking about taking them and turning them into more modern things, or do any of the options maintain some of that original integrity?
Yeah, I asked the same question. Because it certainly has a look when you drive, and the houses look similar. And you can have a school that looks and not just turn the materials into something new and cool to say. Like it can preserve it can be a brick building that matches the optics of the community. It'll be new construction. Is that what you're asking about that? And yes, it can.
Okay, wonderful. I think that's it. I absolutely think it's critical for our schools to be safe for our students and staff, and I think it's very obvious that we need to make some big changes here, but we also want to try to retain some of that historical value. So, thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Kim.
On page 4, and this is, I think, a Dr. Monk question. I just want to know, can you tell me how old the mobile units are?
Yeah.
Not exactly, but I venture to guess some of them are 20, 30 years old.
Okay. And I recall previous chair talked about how 50 years ago mobile units were supposed to be temporary. And yet we were looking at I think it was at Moorhead, where they had been there for 44 years. That's some real temporary. So I guess my point is that are we going to, in our future designs, try to make it where we don't use?
And And so that's what that 759 represents, that, and Mr. Powell spoke to it a little bit. The site is only a certain amount of buildable acreage that we can have anyway. This right now, as codes and everything sits, is about as large of a facility that we can build. And so that's how we would plan for that site.
And because I think, if I recall, last time I was at Lindley, some of your mobile units, if you would see basically slope, and those mobile units are sitting spikes to keep them level, which if it was my child in one of those, I think I would be going, no, get my baby out of there. Because if that slope decided to move, and that's what I wanted, one of you to talk about, explain why you're saying unbuildable. I know what it looks like, but see, this picture doesn't exactly give us justice on
I see.
the unbuildable,
I see
because you got a large swath of that land, and if you try to come in, at least from the back, you got to hump up that hill in order to come in the back part of that school.
That's right. The unusable area is the wooded area to the north, and the stream that sort of is on the south boundary of that.
Oh, yeah, and the city of Greens will get you for messing with that stream.
So I've heard.
Well, they will. So I think it's important to understand that though it is a beautiful campus, and they have done a good job using areas as far as, I think when I was there, they had some gardens. They had other ways that they did use it, which was, an educational benefit to the children. But what we need is the land that's buildable and usable to be maximized. I think is what you're trying to get us to see, right?
That's right.
Good. I'm glad I'm with you. Okay. Okay, on page 9. Okay, one of the things I would wager to say is that just looking at that third picture there, we probably don't even have parts for that thing anymore, do we? Okay. I mean, I'm just being real, okay? If y'all look at that picture, the one where I'd be scared to go down there, because if that thing starts whistling, I wouldn't go in there. And so I paid our maintenance guys, and you probably don't have many maintenance guys who even know how to do anything with that. Because, I'm sorry, AI can't do that. That AI cannot figure out. AI would probably say, get rid of it. So I think that's two of your problems, is we don't have the parts, and we don't have the people. We continue to put bubble gum and wire together to do that. 11. Call. We did a very good job of recognizing the history of Hunter, did we not?
It's a matter of opinion.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, the point is that we are sensitive to trying to
there are
acknowledge.
teams who work in different ways at different schools over time.
And I think that those of us who went to Hunter saw that we did do that at Hunter. And then I think Dr. Monk, you were here when we tried to retrofit that elevator to go at Central, right?
Correct. Yes.
And did it not cost money to try to retrofit a elevator to a 90-year-old building?
Correct, and I think he kind of shared some of that because these were built before there were even codes, so yes.
And I think code was one of the issues we wound up with. I mean, I'm just saying, people, we need to understand we've been there, done this. And we know what it cost us to try to meet the needs or the wants or the desires of people wanting to preserve stuff. But sometimes it's just like a good pair of shoes. Once it gets holes in the bottom of it, you got to throw them away. I mean, we did that. And I remember, I think you were still here when we had the problem at Central. And meet code and retrofit that elevator for there. So it's not that we aren't aware of this, but we don't need to throw good money after bad. Let me help me with my math here. This school is currently 96 years old, right? Somewhere like that?
Yes.
Okay, so my math is okay. So that means if you did renovations, you would be wanting to give it at least another 50-year life, right?
Yes.
So then you would talk about that building, if I do my math, being 46 years old. You know, even people don't live that long yet.
Right. If you don't take a full swing at this and try to, if you are going to renovate, then you need to take a full swing and make it into a 60-year building. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing that thing.
Okay. Okay, so my math is off by 2 years, so it would be a 156-year-old building.
Something like that.
Okay, it makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense because we're already a fourth of the way through the 21st century. We got to realize that we got the class of, what is it now? The kindergarten class now is a class of 2038 or 37?
Last year, yeah.
Okay, we got to be building forward, not building backwards. We need now to be thinking about schools that we haven't even started thinking about building for the next quarter of this century, which will put us at the halfway mark. I won't be here, hallelujah. But the point is, if we're talking about building schools that last 100 years like they did the last time, we have got to think forward and not backwards. We cannot preserve something in its entirety that was built 100 years ago. So I appreciate your honesty, and I hope I haven't said too much. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Kim?
Yeah. I would like to know between Lindley and the school you went to visit. Like, is it because they were able to maintain that building better than Lindley? Like, what is the real comparison?
So neither one of us was able to attend that. I do have, were you there? You can speak to some of that? Okay, and so this is one of our program manager representatives. So if you want to share.
Good evening, I'm Michael Gibbs. I'm one of the project for the 2022 bond. Though I was not able to attend that meeting at Wiley, I do have some counterparts in the Wake County school system that I was able to speak to about Wiley. A big difference with Wiley and Lindley is that Wiley is on the historical preserve, so they were some of those code compliance that we won't be able to do with Lindley because it's not registered as a historical building. Thank you.
But the biggest part also is, so again, Lindley is going to be it's going to be a traditional school with this boundary that we're going to need to serve. Wiley is a choice school where they can, like Archer, limit the number of students that are going to be attending. It's my understanding they upgrade or like expand the classrooms to the sizes I see now. And so you may have classrooms that are 500-600 square feet, whereas we're building classrooms now 1,000 square feet. You know, that's as we look at the way that we educate our students. And with any building, I've even built prototypes here within Guilford County Schools. It's always going to be a little different. And site, drive, how you're going to build that building a little bit different. There's always differences in facilities, right? And so it's not going to be an apples to apples comparison. Renovating a facility, we don't know until we start tearing out walls, you know, what we're going to find behind those walls. So we also caution in trying to make those comparisons.
And I would think also the cost factor of when that particular building and what we're trying to do today.
That's correct.
There will be some disparity.
That's right.
What does it take to not fall into these predicaments of where we need to rebuild buildings? Like after we get the new buildings, what does it take for us to maintain so that we don't fall into this ditch again in Guilford County with such a drastic plan?
Yeah, so that's partly why we also put the annual total cost that's associated with it, because even when we build new facilities, we have to maintain them, right? Or they will deteriorate, and they're going to deteriorate at a more rapid pace than life, right? So that piece of HVAC equipment that we showed, it has a natural life, maybe 20 years. But if we don't have the manpower, if we don't have the funding to go out and grease the belts, change the oil, do those kind of things, then that may shorten that life to 15, 10 years, right? That becomes more costly whenever you're trying to do that within existing facility as well. So where they showed the brick with the mortar separating, like we would literally need to go in, take out that mortar, put new mortar in so that we can get somewhat of a waterproof envelope. Whereas now with new design methods, you can shore up some of those things to help eliminate the cost of just maintaining the facility for the future.
All right, thank you.
I think the other thing, just the other difference is that Wake County passes a bond every 3 years.
What I was going to say.
We forgot about Alan.
It's a part,
Right.
yeah, you can put a whole lot of dollars into one flagship magnet school that they can cap the number of kids who can attend. We are decades behind. And did something big and important one time, but we've got to continue doing that if we want to expect something different.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was also
And
interested.
just to echo that, oh, sorry, Kim, I'm
Go
not in
right
the room.
ahead.
No, just to echo that, as someone who was on the tour, I asked the question specifically to the representative from Wake County Schools about prioritize the level of detail and quality and attention they gave to Wiley, and her immediate answer was, oh, we'll bond every 3 years. So again, just as our superintendent has said, having a sustainable way of funding these kinds of improvements is an absolute difference.
Yeah, I was just thinking, is Lindley one of the schools that when we open up in August that we get in that the HVAC and I don't have any air, like all of the things that I.
Yes.
Okay.
Will be, yeah.
Just wanted to know. Thank you.
Diane?
Madam Superintendent, I don't want to put you on the spot, but at what point will we actually start doing the kind of planning with the county? I assume we got to do it with them, to start planning for, because the bond that we're doing now, that's over with. I mean, it's pretty much, will there be any planning for the future is what I'm trying to ask you, I guess.
Well, I think this joint budget group, the facilities group, that they'll have to coincide. I think we have to think long-term. I think we also can't forget that we've got to pay teachers. So I think we get to November and we put our behind a fraction of a penny sales tax. And then I hear you. I'm just telling you the truth. I think we just have to have this runway of engagement, but we certainly have avenues now of joint committees to be able to do that messaging and to not wait. Because it's not done, it's allocated into projects, but we still have to build the schools to spend the dollars. But you're right. I mean, we have to get in this cycle.
This is probably not a question for you. Are they even willing to talk to us about that?
I think we have conversations. Also, the local government commission. There's other bodies that decide when and how much and how that works. But we have conversation forth very regularly.
Okay. Can I say something to the project manager?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, this is just idea.
What you gonna say?
Depends on what I'm gonna say. Ooh, that's not nice.
That's your mic.
Okay. I'm gonna say I can't turn it off.
Yes, ma'am.
This is just an idea. Is there a way to take Richard Lindley, or put it as a mosaic kind of thing in the drive, something that symbolizes.
There's all kinds of things you can do like
Okay, well,
and really excited to start having those conversations about how we can do that.
okay, because I don't want them to feel like we didn't hear them. But we can't, I don't think we will be able to do what they want, but if we could take some of them bricks and make them a little, miniature looking kind of Lindley, we will have preserved the memory of Lindley.
I know we can do that
All right.
and more.
All right, thank you. See, I didn't hurt anybody with that.
Michael?
Elaborate a little more in the incorporating of Old Lindley into New Lindley if there is a decision to build it in. Because I toured Hunter. I do not know what the original Hunter Elementary was. But I went for the tour, and after the tour, I wondered exactly what I toured because I saw a bell in a trophy case, clock in the trophy case, a couple of doors and windows stuck up on the wall. And really, while I do not know what the original Hunter was, I don't feel that I have any idea what it was like as far as incorporating it in there.
So we're going to call Miss April Larkin to the podium to talk about some other projects where they did bills and incorporated some of the existing structures.
Good evening, everyone. Just to incorporate pieces and parts of Lindley. I think Mr. Powell spoke earlier. There are different elements that we can preserve and save. Our team has worked on incorporated them into the envelope, different special projects that we can use, just making sure that we're using every effort that we reincorporated, and we work really with the design team to do those in a way that's cost effective and also mindful of the fabric.
Okay, so that's going to be something other than something just stuck up on the wall. But
And Dr. Oakley spoke to it some as well. During the design process, that's where we have that conversation with the child, like, okay, how, and the school and the principal, like, how can we best incorporate the existing facility in the new construction so that, done.
And I'll just add that April's is with the Christmas Brit Company, and they're the CM partner on this project, and they have a lot of experience about being careful about how to selectively demolish so that those materials can be salvaged and used. But we do go through a design process to determine what the best use would be.
Dr. Monk, if you don't mind, tell them what happened to the mobile unit that we tried to preserve from Hunter.
Yeah, it fell apart on this trip to its next destination.
It didn't even get to the next destination. It fell apart. I'm just saying, we tried to hold on to a mobile unit, and I think they got it mounted on the truck, and then you can't say.
I have one question. No one else does. What are the guarantees to environmental burdens with renovations of such old facilities? Lindley is the neighborhood, which is island, just every environmental burden that you can imagine. I'm just concerned over time as we're dealing with brownfields and contaminated soil and water contamination and, again, the heat island and all of those things that, the compounding impact of that is a real concern, especially when we're talking about a 15-year life expectancy gap in our neighborhood.
I think that we are in tune with sustainability and sustainability practices. It's something that we live and breathe, and it's part of our culture at SHP. As it relates to this project, we can talk about, we talk about embodied carbon and operational carbon. And the new build solution, we'll consider that over the 60-year lifespan of the building, is actually a favorable sustainable impact than the renovation. That's in the short term. I just want to be clear. In the short term, building a new building is a big hit on sustainability. But over the lifetime of that building, when you consider the operational cost, the higher energy cost it's going to be to condition that existing building, the operational carbon footprint is larger.
And what about the, being able to either contain or remediate, asbestos, when you're talking about moisture control, all of the things that, in conjunction with other things are really problematic to the overall health and well-being of children and the staff and faculty in those buildings.
That's true. I mean, without getting super technical, to improve, we would have to improve the thermal performance of the wall of Lindley. So think about your house, right? If you have an old house and you don't have any insulation in it,
that's older than
the
this.
furnace is all the time, right? Well, in our case, if we're going to preserve the outside of the building, we have to improve the insulation on the inside of the building. And what that does is it drives the moisture deeper into the wall. And so it becomes more of a problem. It has to mitigate out. So as I spoke about, you have to more frequently maintain that building to make sure that wall performs over time.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you very much. That was all very helpful. We are now at committee report, policy committee. Diane, I'll turn to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At our June 12th, I guess my policy report ain't that exciting. Bye. At our June 12th meeting, the policy committee voted to send 6 policy recommendations out for a 30-day public comment period from June the 27th to July 20th. Revisions are related to financial management. Policy 6401, 8440, 100, procurement ethics is a new policy that is required by law to express the standards of conduct and training requirements for purchasing with district funds. Policy 8210, grants and funding for special projects, has been updated to consolidate policy information about seeking and receiving grants and large donations. This policy revision replaces existing policy 8220 and 9002, which are the revision of policy 8300, fiscal management, has been revised to describe standard accounting procedures, internal controls, and the cash management plan. The revised policy reflects the district's compliance with government accounting standards. This revision replaces policy, which is recommended for repeal. As a reminder, you can view the revisions in detail in the attachment to the policy committee report in the board agenda, featured on the site and social media channels after this meeting. These policy recommendations will come back to the board for discussion at our August meeting after the public has had a chance to give input.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. When we look back to coming back to that, we're now at action items and a number of policies We'll start with, well, I'll just hand it over to you, and we'll vote on each one separately.
Okay. Tonight, we are considering 5 policy items. 4 were reviewed by the policy committee and published for public comment in May. No comments were received. 1 item, I guess that's item 10B, was reconsidered by the policy committee at our June meeting at the request of the board. The committee recommends it for board consideration. Members of the public who would like to view the policy revisions may do so on tonight's board meeting agenda, which can be accessed at www.gcsnc.com under Board of Education. Okay, action item A. I make a motion to adopt the revisions of policy 2127, board member technology under technology used as presented. Information on 2127. This revision clarifies the individual board members are not authorized to speak on behalf of the board via private social media accounts. Purpose of the revision is to respond to a recent Supreme Court ruling in Link versus Freed.
Okay.
I made the motion.
All right, is there a second? All right.
Are we discussing each one before we vote?
No.
Well, if you have a question.
Yeah, I got questions. We go back to the very first policy, and this is
We're just on policy 2127, so we're going to do these one at a time.
2127. Jill, this is towards you on this one. On the second page where it says board use of personal technological resources for district business, and it gives as much as practical, board members should use district technology devices for conducting and storing district electronically stored information. For use of personal technology devices may be convenient for conducting district businesses, such as use is discouraged when district resources are reasonably available. Board members may only use district accounts for conducting district business, and only district-provided accounts and contact information will be published or shared. If board members are using their personal devices to conduct board business, is there a liability for that?
There's no liability, it just is much more complicated. If you get a public records request, for example, I don't have access to your personal information, so that makes me have to get access to your personal device. For many reasons, I don't want to go through your personal device. You may not want me to go through your personal device. So it's much simpler to respond to board business requests like public. The information is contained in ways we can search it and do the other things we do with public records requests.
Is there consequences for board members using their personal device legally?
No. I mean, so here's the thing. Public records are public records because they're about board business, not because they're on a public device. It's just more cumbersome and not advisable. So we would say, and hope you all would endorse it because these are your policies, that you should use board resources so that we make board business easily available to be produced.
So what I'm getting at is, if the information is lost on a personal device.
Pardon me, is what I'm?
Information is lost because it's being used on a personal device.
Right.
There's consequences.
I mean, I guess there could be, yeah.
But there's actually some legal consequences on that, and I feel that that should be within this policy, that board members should understand that if they fail to provide the information, if they use the excuse of it was deleted, it's gone, that there is ramifications. And I would like to make sure the school system is very clear that the school system should not be held responsible for board members' actions.
I can't ascribe who's responsible for what. That's not really my purview. But what I can say is that there are, sometimes it's hard for board members how people communicate with them, but it's easier for board members to control how they communicate with the public. So that may be a better way. In other words, you can get mail, you can get a text on your personal phone. It's not always, you can direct people to your public-facing sites, but sometimes it's not that easy. But it's very, very forward to have a policy, to understand the policy, and to use the policy.
But also, board members need to understand it's their responsibility for their personal devices.
Right. If they use personal devices, then they have to preserve that information. Yes.
And I think that should be included within this policy.
Do you want to, I mean.
I would love to see
I
it
don't know
sent
what to
back
tell you. You can move to amend the policy and put it back out. You can send it back to the committee. You take.
I think at this point, you can make a substitute motion like we did. There was another item that's on here so that you could make a substitute motion and see if that passes to revisit that. I mean, that's what the 30-day period is about, talking to the policy committee and saying those things. To bring that up here, when you've also had 30 days to have conversation with the policy committee, with your board members prior to this, I think is, just belabors the point. So you can make a substitute motion if you want to and see where that goes.
Well, I'd like the motion to send it back to policy.
You have to make a substitute motion because there's already a motion that's been seconded on the floor to advance this. So you'd have to make a substitute motion, get a second, and then get the majority of the vote for that to happen.
Can we table the first motion?
No, because it's already out there.
I mean, you could move to table if it passes, but then tabling doesn't take any action.
We could bring it back up at a later date, though.
Well, that wouldn't change anything, though. Right? And that would just bring the same vote back.
Okay.
I mean, you could move to table it, but that would just prolong the vote. It doesn't, you'd have to move to send it back to committee if you want to make a motion. As a substitute motion.
I'm not going to make a.
Say that?
We'll go back to, we'll read it at a later date.
Would you like to make a motion for this to go back to the committee?
No. We'll just leave it alone for now.
Okay, okay. All right, Betty, we're voting on policy 2127. Michael?
We're not doing it.
Michael?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
And Dina, yes, it passes by a vote of 7-0. We're now at policy 2310, item B. Diane?
Make a motion to adopt on public participation at board meetings as presented. The background for this is that this new policy has been proposed to reflect the process for conducting the board's monthly public comment period. The policy committee reviewed this again at the request of the board, and no changes were recommended.
You made a motion? All right. Yes, Michael?
Yes.
Kim?
Just wanted to point out, A3, that just needs some clarification. Individuals or groups wishing to address the board must register to do so by emailing or by calling the number the day before the meeting, beginning at 8 a.m. until 12. We just need to clarify what we want people to actually do and how long they have to do it.
I think that's,
It says the day before the board meeting, beginning at 8 until 12 p.m.
Yeah,
until the something there that.
well, we're voting on this.
I know, we are.
Okay.
I'm good,
Okay.
yes.
Diane? Alan?
Yes.
And by a vote of 7-0. Policy 3420, item C.
I make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 20 student promotion and accountability as presented. The background for this is this policy has been revised to incorporate opportunities for students to earn course credits while studying abroad.
Second. All right, Betty?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
And Dina, yes. Passes by a vote of 7-0. Item D, Policy 3460.
Adopt the revisions to Policy 3460, graduation requirements as presented. The background for this policy has been updated to reflect new state laws regarding high school graduation.
Second.
Thank you. Betty?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
And Dina, yes. Passes by a vote of 7-0. And item E, Policy 4270, 6145.
I make a motion to adopt the revisions to Policy 4270 and 6145, concussion awareness and safety as presented. The background for this policy is to revise it to reflect updated state requirements related to concussion education and procedures.
Second. Thank you. Betty?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
And Dina, yes. That passes by a vote of 7-0.
Madam Chair, I just want to thank my committee. Are available if folk want to, bring something to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the work of your committee as well. We are now at board member comments. Chrissy, I'll start with you.
Happy summer. I hope everybody has a wonderful, refreshing break. And that's all I've got tonight. Make it short and sweet. Next.
Thank you, Diane.
Okay, mine's going to be sweet. First, I want to congratulate all of our 2024 graduates and thank the staff for all that they did to make that happen. Coliseum staff, the various people, I know that we paid them, but they had to work hard to graduate. How many did you tell me? 5,463. Yeah, 5,463 babies. We sent them flying. So I think it's important, if you haven't ever just sat and watched all of what's going on and the hard work that's behind it, the safety, the getting the folks in the audience to behave. One of the most funniest things I saw was at one graduation, somebody threw up beach balls. And before those beach balls could land, the security had snatched them and taken them out of the... So they weren't playing with folks. They told you don't bring that stuff in the building. And they made sure. I don't know if they gave them back to them or not, but I know they took them from them. But I know that they, want to express their joy for their children, and we do too. And we hope that these young people have a successful life from the beginning that we have given them. I also want to just acknowledge the to-be Dr. Jose Olivia for his time with us. He and I didn't get off on the right foot, but we found the right shoes to wear, and we use that as a point of learning and respecting each other. And so I'm going to miss him. I hope you've learned how to use a knife so you don't cut yourself again. But we're going to miss you, and I know that you also meant a lot to the greater Greensboro, Guilford County community, and not just did you well. And I hope you'll at least remember wherever you go. My next is a request that people consider making donations this summer to our different schools' PTA members. One of the things, I have, I think, more Title I schools than anybody as far as in my representation. In my conversation with principals, parent involvement is important. But when parents feel like that they got to make a choice between paying $7 for a membership for PTA or giving their child, some extra lunch money. That they don't, but yet we still want them to feel involved. If we would get folks, churches, anybody to make a donation for 10 memberships, it's going to be somewhere in $70. Okay, I think it takes a total of 20 memberships in order for a PTA to be a PTA. Am I right?
It depends.
So all I'm saying is,
Sustain it, yes, thank you.
yes, is this summer, if your church or if somebody can, that whenever they have their open houses, they can invite people just to sign up. I know it was that dramatic, that they would invite, folks just to sign up, because the has been in the hopes that will get them more involved. I mean, surely if there are any principals left in the building, that PTA membership is a good start to get parents involved. So I'd like to make that request. That everyone has a safe holiday, and for 4th of July, I have a homework assignment. If you get a chance, look at the movie Origin. Is the story about Isabel Wilkerson's book Cast, so that maybe we get a better understanding about why we celebrate Juneteenth. And then another is a PBS documentary that was done in 2003 called Race, the Power of an Illusion. We're in a time now where we're wondering, will the United States be the United States? And part of that is because of misinformation, no information, and some people just don't care. But if we want this democracy to survive, we've got to spend some time understanding the what happened, the what is happening, and the what possibly can happen. So my homework assignment is these two documents. Try to have conversation. Don't just watch it yourself. A group of people, and you're thinking about, how do we make America work? Not how do we make America great, how do we make America work? And so I wish everybody, if I was running for office, that would be my slogan. But anyway, I'm not. So we need to figure out how to make America work for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to also add to the fact that Title I schools receive 1% parent engagement funds lots of times, and parents have a right to decide how they're going to use 1% of the Title I funding. So they could use it to purchase memberships for the parents at their schools if they chose to. That's the budget, part of the Title I budget that they have some power over as well. So that might assist them with maintaining their memberships to PTA, which is very important. I was able to attend a panel discussion in DC in reference to the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. And the panelists shared that the work and the school culture is what seems to be the thorn in the side of why we still have discrimination still happening in the workplace and at schools. And it just needs to be addressed, and that there's the opportunity, right, for reform and to pivot from many of the practices. I was made aware that a Texas student was suspended because of his hairstyle recently. And actually, the school district did have a policy, so therefore the judge, even though they wanted to appeal the suspension, because it was in their school policy, the judge had to rule in favor of the school district over this young man's hairstyle. In Cobb County recently, a student with disabilities was not allowed to partake in sitting in the auditorium for the graduation ceremony, but she was allowed to walk across the stage, but her parents were sitting in the auditorium looking for their child. And this is recently. These are the things that are happening around the United States in reference to our civil rights in schools and in a workplace. So we do have a lot of work to do if this nation actually I want to remind families to please take advantage of free programming at our local library and recreation and our faith organizations. In reference to reading and getting the information, there's a saying that says if you don't want them to know, we have to begin to take advantage of the resources that are really at our fingertips. No one, just because some group decides to ban a book, does not mean that you do not have access to a book. So take advantage of our libraries and making sure that we are using our libraries, because when they're getting ready to cut funds sometimes in the county, it's because we're not actively using some of our public resources. So that we have to be actively using our public libraries to show that they are benefiting in our community. We want them to be sustained. There is a STEAM and robotics summer camp will be held at Greater New Hope Church, which is in High Point, 906 Meredith Street, for ages 6 to 14, beginning July 8th through August 9th. Please contact Mr. Jeffrey Surgeon at 336-554-6225. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Tonight, we talked about Lindley Elementary. Lindley Elementary has a feel to it. And I understand both sides of the argument. As an educator in a classroom that had a roof that leaked, AC that didn't work, heat that didn't work, the facility needed repairs. Lindley needs repairs, but Lindley also has a feel. And I would like to be able to, whether we do the rebuild, replacement, or whatever, I'll keep the feel within the school. Because I did go to Hunter Elementary. I did look at what they had within Hunter Elementary. And I incorporated the feel of the original Hunter Elementary within that building. They did have and save some historic, but that was not the feel of what I would imagine Hunter Elementary had. So with that, I would always like to keep that within consideration as we go and move forward in this. Students should have a good classroom. Teachers should have good, and the community should have input on what is determined within those facilities, because they are community schools. But as far as this week, I've been hanging out with Betty Jenkins a great deal, doing student appeals and assignment appeals. I won't say it's been fun doing them. You really feel sorry for parents and some students in these situations. What school board members do, we look at the situation and we make a determination. And I hope parents can understand what the determination is and that we are probably doing the best for their child or for them in these decisions. So, thank you.
Thank you. Betty?
Okay, we make a recommendation to the full board, and the board make a decision. It's not just on us. Okay, here we go. As far as my long, I'm gonna do 3 minutes tonight. I normally do 2. I enjoyed the valedictorian and salutatorian luncheon. Really jewels in Guilford County Schools, and just more than the one that we saw, it's a lot, and we really, really need to congratulate them and thank them for all the hard work. The graduation was absolutely wonderful. We went through that without any hiccups, and the staff did a phenomenal job. I had a STEM camp at Core Technology last week. It was girls from age 10 to 14. Wonderful young ladies there, and they had an absolute great time. And I have another one coming up in 3 weeks. I have students in that one, which is all of Guilford County School females. Thank you. I want to salute the students from Dudley High School. 5 students received the Morningside Award last night at the Human Rights Banquet, a gala. I'm gonna mess one name up, I know. Amir Jones, Olivia Johnson, Alicia Rodriguez, Amar Weathers, that's right, Werthers, and Brianna Day. And I congratulate receiving that award. Also, they was fortunate enough to give me an award for the commitment to social justice work. And so I received an award also. Thank you. Now, for the last one, I asked for a record request on the service learning. I think that was in the month of January, maybe February. So I went and did my own random thing. 317 students. I think service learning is very important because of the fact it teaches the kids, different kind of experience, how to work with other people, and to be a young adult. And so out of 317 students, I was somewhat amazed of what the sample result in. And that was 43 students receive a diploma, which is 200 hours and above. 24 students receive an award, which is 100 hours to 199. 17 students receive honor, which is 70 hours through 99. 51 students attempted, meaning they did between 20 to 69 hours. And 182 students had no interest. They did not attempt at all. And the 3 top reasons, I can give you 10 of them, but I'm gonna give you top 3. The 3 top reasons why the numbers are what it is because, number 1, they said that it was not mandated for graduation. Number 2, they said it interfered with their sports practice. And number 3 said it was not strongly suggested or encouraged by the school. Now, this is not one school. This was students throughout Gifford County. So don't put it on my school, okay? It was students throughout Gifford County. I had people to check with their friends. So we need to do better at encouraging our students to assist with service learning, because when they grow up to be able to work, and they can work at 16 and 15 years old, they will learn how to get along with others. They'll learn different working experience. So I please encourage counselors or service learning coaches to please encourage the students to do their service learning. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan?
Not much to say tonight from afar, but I do want to say thank you to the incomparable Lisa Nolan and Tech Services of High Point for making it possible for me to join tonight and to join while I'm on vacation. And I wish the same soulful time to everyone in the weeks to come. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. I know there's much to catch up on as I return, but thanks again for the chance to join.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And I know this is, I think it was Mo Green that instituted the 4-day, 10-hour, 4-day. So I know this is staff's Friday, and they have worked 10 hours today. So Jose, I'll find another time to embarrass you on your way out. But I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. It's the one with the longest comments.